Spyro. Hey there guys, Portalmaster9351 here, and welcome back to another edition of Ask Portalmaster, the show, series, whatever you want to call it, where I answer the questions that you guys asked me at the end of the last episode of this show. That's a really weird way of putting it. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to be answering your questions today, providing a little bit of a channel update, talking about what's going to be going on over this next month for my channel. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Our first question for today comes from Yo-Yo, and he asks, "Hey Portalmaster, do you know how to draw? And if so, can you do it well?" No! I can't draw. I'm not artsy though. I actually do pottery and like clay stuff, but I do not draw. That is something I've never particularly been good at, although I will admit I've never really tried to get good at drawing. I'm sure if I actually tried and practiced I could probably become halfway decent at it, but as of right now I don't. But I do still really enjoy, you know, making art, but not drawing and stuff. It's just me though. Our next question comes from Skyred, and he asks, "Do you know the Muffin Man?" No. I guess I don't really know the Muffin Man. No. Kiro Tai asks, "Will Skylanders Academy have a Season 4? Well, that is a question that I very much wish I knew the answer to. If you asked me if I think it will or won't get another season, personally I think that it will get another season. However, we don't know that for sure. But as of, in my opinion, yeah, it will. I actually have a full video on whether or not I think it will or won't, talk about the reasons that it could, might not, and just kind of list out the evidence. But long story short, yeah, I do think it'll get another season, but we don't really know." Citron Supreme says, "In Skylanders Academy Season 3, Episode 5, Stump Smash, Drobot, and Shroom Boom were mentioned. Do you think any of them could come in possible future seasons?" Yes, I do think that those are future contenders for future seasons. Although that being said, I think pretty much all of the Skylanders are potential future characters that could show up in future seasons. However, I do think that those would be some strong contenders, especially since it was mentioned by Stealth Elf that she was raised by a tree. Now, personally, I would imagine that that is referring to Ambush. But on the off chance it's not, it could be referring to Stump Smash, and in that case, it could be that that is who they are referring to. I don't know. But I do think that those are characters that could show up in future seasons, and for like Drobot, I would love to see Drobot in future seasons, and Shroom Boom was actually one of the ones that I really wanted in Season 3 anyway. So not only do I think they could show up, but I would be very happy if they did. Ethan's Lab says, "Do you think there will be a Glumshanks or Cassandra figure?" Well, I mean, obviously if there was a future game, that would be possible. Again, let's just assume that there is a Skylanders 7 just for a moment. If that was the case and they were doing villain figures again, I personally think that those could be characters that we could see. I would definitely like to see non-Doom Raider Trap Team era villains get figures in future games, if there are any. I think it'd be very cool. So yeah, I would say yeah, I think that would be kind of cool. Phonics Wolf says, "Do you want Dark Spyro to come back?" I am assuming that you mean in Skylanders Academy, and the answer to that is yes. It's interesting because in Skylanders Academy, it's never really explained what actually happens to Dark Spyro, and I think that with that in mind, there is a pretty good chance that Dark Spyro could just show back up in a future season, you know, and it was revealed, oh, he wasn't actually destroyed by Spyro. I think it'd be an interesting plot twist for them to do, so yes, I do think it'd be cool if Dark Spyro came back. Joseph Tobin says, "Do you play Dragon Ball Legends?" Unfortunately, no. I am relatively familiar with Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. I watched, I think the entirety, if it wasn't the entirety, it was almost the entirety of Dragon Ball Z Kai, like 6 or 7 years ago. It was a while back, but I did actually get into Dragon Ball Z for a while, but I unfortunately don't really play any of the games. Not So Super asks, "Who are your favorite bands?" Good question. Very broad question as well. And I absolutely hate picking favorites, as you probably know from me. I'm not going to say who my favorite bands are because it's just too hard to pick. There's too much to choose from. I will say that I primarily listen to pop and electronic music, though. And like I said, I really don't like picking favorites, though, so I'm just going to tell you the genres of music that I mainly listen to. Pop and electronic, like mainstream stuff, but then also like dance music is another thing that I really enjoy. But those are the two genres I enjoy. I'm not going to list bands, though, because it's too hard to pick, man. Too hard to pick. Spoiler alert on this next question for Skylanders Academy Season 3. Here we go, though. So, with Chaos being Eon's son, would that not mean that Aurora is Chaos's cousin? Theoretically, yes it would. The other thing, though, that it implies, assuming that the whole Aurora thing is canon, and that Aurora is like the niece of Eon, is that Eon has another sibling. That's what that means, because either Aurora and Chaos are siblings, which I don't think is true, or Eon has another sibling, which is interesting. I think that'd be a cool theory to expand upon in future seasons of Academy, introduce Aurora and potentially another sibling of Eon and Strikor. That would be cool. Sebin Chireel asks, how do you balance YouTube and school? It's interesting that you ask that question because I've been having to make some adjustments now that I am in college, of course. In high school, it was actually, I think, harder for me to balance YouTube and school than it is in college. Mainly just due to the whole way scheduling worked out, especially once I, was able to start driving and stuff like that. It became a lot easier to manage my own time and go by my own schedule. It wasn't always easy. It still isn't always easy to balance YouTube and school. I always put school first. I always have to make sure that that stuff gets done. That is just stuff that needs to get done. But I always do still, try to do YouTube. It's difficult. There's not really a good, way that I could say that I am able to balance the two of them out. I just do what I have to do, and when I have free time, I make YouTube videos. That's just how it goes. Davis Harper says, if you were to direct a Teen Titans live-action movie, how would you make it? Would you use the original source material, or would you try something different with the characters? Quick thing, not terribly familiar with DC. I am somewhat familiar with DC, but nowhere near to the extent of Marvel. However, I do always believe that in any adaptation of live action from source material, you should always stick as close to as you can to the source material with still making an engaging film. I don't like it when movies and stuff go way off the rails from the original source material in anything. I don't appreciate that at all. I think that it kind of devalues the property for what it is. So with any live-action adaptation of just about anything, I would stick as close as I can to the source material, but deviate enough from it to make it fun and engaging. I think an example of when someone deviated way too far from source material can be seen in The Hobbit film adaptation, the most recent one, where there were 3 parts and there was so much additional content thrown in there. Characters were just thrown in there from the main Lord of the Rings series that didn't need to be in there. Kind of devalued the piece for what it was, kind of made it cool from a cinematic standpoint, but wasn't really a strong adaptation of the actual original source material. So that is just kind of how I feel in general when it comes to live-action adaptations of just about anything. Spyro557 says, do you think it's possible that we'll hear some news about Skylanders Academy Season 4 as to whether it's happening or not at Activision's Q3 2018 earnings call on November the 8th? Also, do you think that after what happened at the February 8th conference earlier this year, can we actually still trust what goes on at these conferences and actually wonder about announcements and stuff? So if you're not 100% sure what Spyro is referring to here, back in February I said that that would be the press conference where Activision would pretty much announce whether or not we were getting a new Skylanders game this year, reconfirm whether the mobile game was cancelled or actually still happening, and of course none of that happened. They didn't talk about any new IPs at all other than saying that Call of Duty would be getting another game, Black Ops 4, later in the year. That's the only thing they announced at that entire conference call. I do think that they are changing and deviating with those conference calls, and I do think that those conference calls, they don't really like to unveil things there anymore. In years past, they would actually unveil new games at those conference calls. They don't do that anymore. I don't think they're going to ever do that again. As to whether or not we can actually expect Season 4 news at their upcoming press conference, I would not rule it out. I do think they will probably, at the very least, mention whether or not Season 3 viewings were good or not. That is something they will reveal for sure. I almost am certain on that. And if it's not at this conference call, it'll be because it hasn't been out for long enough. They may not say anything about it now. They may say something about that when we get to the Q4 earnings call in February. But I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't think they're ready to announce a Season 4 just yet. But it is a possibility. Your favorite Canadian YouTuber, A, says, if you wanted to see a Skylander fight a character from a different series, which Skylander would you like to see fight which character, and why? As a Pokemon fan, I would love to see some Skylanders take on a Pokemon. That'd be cool. Give me Spyro versus Charizard Battle of the Dragons, man. I would love to see that. That'd be so cool. There's other characters I think that would be interesting to see too, but I don't know why, but Spyro versus Charizard just like seems like such a, I don't know, I'd love to see those dragons go at it. That'd be a pretty cool fight. Nolan the Epic Portalmaster says, if you could pick any Skylander to be in Smash Bros, who would it be and why? Well, again, I'm actually going to say Spyro, because of the fact that, well, he's Spyro. He's the most iconic of any of the Skylanders. If not Spyro, probably like Drobot. I think he'd be a really cool character to see in Smash Bros. There's a lot of ones that would be cool, but I really, really want Spyro in Smash, period. And I think that there's a chance that could happen sooner or later, but I don't know. But Spyro is the one I'm going with just because he's the most iconic and because he would get the most recognition from non-Skylander fan bases. And I think that he has the biggest chance of actually getting in, too. Zach Shadowkill asks 2 questions. Could you make a video on your overall thoughts of the Marvel movies released so far? And would you like to see any Spyro and Cinder moments in Season 4 if it happens? I'm going to answer question 2 first. So the thing is, I really don't want Spyro to have a romantic thing with Cinder at all in Skylanders Academy. I know that a lot of fans ship that couple, but I personally don't really want that to happen, mainly because I feel like it would detract from the rest of the show. That's the main reason. If it was a series that got like 20 episodes per season, I'd be a little more okay with it. But in a 13-episode series where I just feel like they need to focus on the main story, I don't really want that to be a subplot. As for that video on Marvel stuff, I would at some point like to talk about Marvel stuff on this channel, potentially in a live stream format at some point. So if you guys would like to see that, do let me know that down in the comments. That is something I would like to do. If you want me to talk about Marvel, again, I know I talked about that in the past, but that is something I'm interested in doing, and I am looking into how to incorporate that best on this channel. That idiot says, how would you feel about a game set in the Skylanders Academy universe? So I did a video back in June, I think, July, I don't really remember what it was, talking about how jacked up the Skylanders lore is. Mainly because the lore from Academy and the lore from the core games does not match up at all, and later it was pretty much told to me that, oh, they exist in different universes, so it doesn't really matter, period. Well, see, here's the thing. If you ever set the Skylander games in the universe of Academy, then basically it would null and void the rest of the Skylanders games. And so I personally think that they shouldn't, you know, set a game in the Skylanders Academy universe, because then they would have to basically retcon the entire occurrences of all the original 6 games, and I don't really like that personally. Now, if they ever rebooted the franchise and then wanted to set it in the Skylanders Academy universe, I'd be a lot more okay with that. But if they're not going to do a full reboot of the franchise, I say no, don't put a game in the Skylanders Academy universe. But hey, that's just me. So that is it for the questions that you guys asked me. If you would like for me to answer any more questions, do put them down in the comments so that I can get them in the next episode. If I didn't answer your question all the way, or you would like to ask me another question, or if I skip your question somehow, for some reason, then do put it down in the comments again. Maybe I'll get to it this next time. So just a quick little update on what's going to be going on my channel for the next month. So as you guys know, Starlink came out this past month. I finally finished my Let's Play of it. By the time this video goes live, I'll probably have put out a few non-LP related videos talking about reviews and character lists and stuff like that. You know, I've got a lot of Starlink content planned. Of course, we have Spyro coming out next month, or later this month. By the time this video is up, it'll be sometime early November. So I'm definitely planning on covering all the Spyro related stuff. Going to be doing a full playthrough, hopefully, of Spyro, assuming that the Let's Plays actually do well enough. A lot of you guys said in the last Spyro video that I put out that you guys did want to see Spyro content, so that is going to be coming to my channel. In addition though, Pokemon is coming out this month, Pokemon Let's Go, and assuming that you guys would like to see that, I will be covering Pokemon Let's Go. I'm trying to expand this channel into gaming as a whole. I want to get reaccustomed with some of the older franchises that I used to involve myself in, such as, for instance, Pokemon. That is something I would like to cover on my channel, so if you guys would like to see that, do leave that down in the comments. I'm getting the game, so it's just a matter of, do you want me to press that record button or not? I want to know what you guys think. Anyways though, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for all of your support over this past month. The past 2 months, September and October, have been the 2 best months in my entire channel history, and that could not have happened without you guys' never-ending support. So huge shout out to you guys, everyone who watches. Thank you guys so much. Remember to leave your questions down in the comments, but that is all I have for you guys today. This has been Portalmaster 9351. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and shout out to all my patrons on Patreon, especially Liam Corner, The Collector Creepypasta, and Portal Power TV. That is all for now. See you guys next time.